Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. I have with me today a new guest and two returning guests, and I'm going to introduce you all to them. And before we do all that, a small request to please like this video. A big momentous thing happened in Canada. We're going to talk about this. We're going to share what happened, what played out, and so on and so forth. Now, let's first welcome all our guests. Welcome to this channel, Puspita ji, Rich Robertson, and Rishab Saraswat. How are you all?
Wonderful.
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Great. Thank you, Rishabji.
Thank you so much. And viewers, this is something that we came together at very short notice, and it was all thanks to Puspita ji. And I'd like to start with Puspita ji. What prompted you to reach out to me sometime a few hours ago, I think, and we decided that this is important, that we should share this thing, not just to all of Canada, but also to the world. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sri Iyer, for having us on. So yes, I think this is a very important advance that happened yesterday. And I would obviously like the two Canadian leaders here to talk about it. But just to contextualize, many on your channel are aware of our multi-year-long battle to help correct the narrative around the Hakenkreuz, which is Hitler's hateful symbol, which is very unfortunately called the swastika in most parts of the West. And when we call it the swastika, that's A, inaccurate, because research has shown that Hitler never used the word swastika. And B, by using the word swastika, it puts a target on the backs of minority communities here, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Jains, and other people who revere this symbol. So for 5 years now, CoHNA has sort of led the charge, along with many other organizations, to sort of help people understand that we are very, very understanding of the horrors that Hitler's symbol carried. And we are absolutely on board with fighting that hate. We just want that hate to be accurately tackled. Even if it wasn't hurting anybody, we should just use the accurate terms. But I've always said that when we call Hitler's symbol the swastika, we give Hitler more power in death than he had in life, because Hitler was no fan of brown people. But we were a little far removed from his ambit when he was alive. And now when we call his symbol the swastika, it brings us all in the ambit of his hate. So our Canadian team has been working on this initiative for a while now. And I think it's best that they talk about the big initiative that was announced yesterday. Rishabji, over to you.
Thank you, Puspita ji, for that succinct introduction. This is how it started, that Bnai Brith, which is the oldest civil rights organization in Canada and a big name in Jewish advocacy. They come up with a petition to ban Nazi symbols. And context of that is that there is unprecedented tide of hate which is happening in Canada right now. Anti-Semitism like this we have never seen in our lifetime, and some say that it is one of the worst time for Jews, for living Jews, since Holocaust and after the Holocaust. In this situation, when we reached out, we means lot of our Hindu organizations, Ragini ji, Sharma ji from CoHNA, Vishwa Jain Sangathan, and many other Hindu organizations. We all reached out collectively to Bnai Brith. And understandably, this is what any Jew would talk about. Like, here we are getting attacked, and people are coming here talking about semantics. This doesn't make any sense. But kudos to Richard, that he stood for the truth. That's what I will give all the credit to Richard, his leadership, and Bnai Brith to come up and doing the right thing here. Of course, we educated the Bnai Brith about what is the right terminology, but like earlier, a lot of other Jewish organizations, they could have said, no, what are you talking about here? This is what the terminology is known in the West, at least for the people. But Rich stood towards the truth, and he made a decision. Okay, this is what we are gonna do. We understand your concern. We speak for the truth, and it doesn't make sense that this is a symbol which has been haunting the Jewish community for so long, and we are not even using the right terminology. So this all credit goes to Richard for this, And all credit also goes to all the other Hindu organizations. We collaborated together and talked to Richard about it and stood for the right thing.
Thank you so much, Rishabh. Richard Robertson is coming on our channel for the first time. Richard, welcome to PGurus one more time. But please just walk us through a little bit about Bnai Brith, how how long have you been associated with this organization, and your thoughts on how this meeting of minds came about. Over to you.
Absolutely. So as Rishab said, Bnai Brith is Canada's oldest human rights organization. We were founded in 1875. We're actually presently celebrating our 150th anniversary. I'm the organization's Director of Research and Advocacy. Our mandate is to fight racism and hatred in all of its forms, and we also serve as a voice for Canada's grassroots Jewish community. As we've seen an unfortunate rise in anti-Semitism over the course of the last 18 or so months, we also saw a rise in the use of the Nazi Hakenkreuz in Canada. And this is something that has predated even the rise in anti-Semitism that we are presently witnessing. This rise has been most unfortunate, the use of the Hakenkreuz, because we're seeing it targeting the Jewish community, we're seeing it targeting the First Nations community in Canada, we're seeing it targeting other minority communities, as well as it being used as a political symbol. And to have just 80 years removed from the Holocaust and the crimes of the Nazis, to have this symbol become a part of our public discourse, this is something that we at Bnai Brith really believe is unacceptable. And so we launched a public campaign to call for a public ban on the Nazi Hakenkreuz, the Nazi hook cross. And in doing so, we were unfortunately referring to it as, in hindsight, as the Nazi swastika. And this is because we simply didn't know. All we wanted was for this evil, this horrid symbol to be removed, the public display of it to be banned in our country. We never wanted to use anyone's sacred term or anyone's sacred image, iconography in an undue manner. And what came about, really, I believe, is so special, because we were reached out to by all these amazing Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist organizations throughout Canada and really around the world. And they had every right to be upset with us for misusing the sacred term swastika and for maligning further the sacred symbol of the swastika. And yet, they were respectful, and we engaged in meaningful dialogue. And what's come out of this is truly special, because now we have been able to build a fantastic relationship between our community, the Jewish community, and the Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist communities throughout Canada. And we've now have one united voice calling for the public ban on the Hakenkreuz. And I am so grateful for learning about this. And now we are fighting against this evil symbol for a dual-fold purpose. One, to ban a symbol of evil, but also to help ensure that in the future, the term swastika is only associated with the sacred, as the sacred symbol that it is for so many different faiths and cultures. So it's been a tremendous learning experience, and I'm really grateful for all of those who reached out to Bnai Brith Canada to educate us, and so now that we can advocate on their behalfs as well.
Thank you so much. And I would come back to Puspita ji. Puspita ji, one of the things that when I was trying to respond to a comment by Jagmeet Singh of Canada, of NDP Canada, when he was talking about the trucker strike and a Hakenkreuz flag come up, and he made one very thoughtless comment. And then I had set him right, saying, this is what this is, swastika, don't connect that with Hakenkreuz, because he also used the word swastika. And I had told him, look, the two are separate, and even told him the pages where he can find reference to swastika in the Guru Granth Sahib also. So this is not something that is unique to one community. Anybody whose roots are going back to Sanatana Dharma, they all have this. Buddhism too, and Jainism, Sikhism, Hinduism, everyone. So the thing about getting this clarity in Canada is very appreciated, because Puspita ji, walk us through what happened in California. We still don't have it clean about Hakenkreuz and swastika. Go ahead.
California had a law passed in 2022 where I say we had like a half win, unfortunately. So they did include the term Hakenkreuz into California law, which was good. That's the half win. But unfortunately, they also kept the word Nazi swastika. And it's not a California problem alone. We see this a lot of times. The problem with the word Nazi swastika is that it sort of starts to editorialize the swastika to say there's a Nazi one, which means a bad one, which means there's a good one, which is kind of an oxymoron, right? First of all, never existed. Nazis never used the term. They called it Hakenkreuz. But also, the swastika is the swastika, right? It's just very simple. Let's not editorialize a symbol that is thousands of years old, is used by 2 billion people. And the Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and also, like Richard said, the First Nations in Canada, the Native American tribes in the United Nations, United States, Zoroastrians. I mean, it is truly for some reason, this is a symbol humanity has liked from its earliest days. It's come by many names, many symbols, and that's actually what we say. Just teach people that and tell them that context matters, because then it'll take them like 30 seconds or less to figure out what they're looking at, symbol of hate or somebody using it as a symbol of peace.
Thank you so much. And Rishab, my question to you is, how long ago did this whole process start? And now we are at a point where we have got some clarity in some parts of Canada, and what work remains?
No, I agree with Puspita ji that intent is most important, and that's what we explained to everyone. And that's where Rich also started his conversation when we had a conversation about it, that his intent was really important, that we are talking against hate. And that's where we are talking about a symbol which is a living symbol in every Hindu household, every Sanatani's life. Swastika is a symbol of sacred, peace, prosperity, and everything good. And when we are talking about Hakenkreuz, we are talking about a really evil and symbol of hatred and pure evil. This is what we are talking about. So this distinction is very important. How long we started? If I look at it philosophically, it started with all the Hindu phobia rising in Canada. You see, because Hindus have been very self-censoring community. It's not like this issue has just suddenly surfaced in the Hindu Canadians or Hindu Americans' life. This has been as long as we have been living North America or the West. We have been facing it. Our community members have been facing it. But how we hid it, like if something happens, okay, just do some puja, and after that, removed it and, do your puja inside the house. Or when you are getting a car, Panditji will, instead of doing the puja on the bonnet, they will do it in the hot motor instead and burn their hand rather than actually being resilient about their voices. No, this is our sacred symbols. This has happened because so much of Hindu phobia has risen. Anti-Semitism is, of course, all-time high in Canada, but close to second is unprecedented rise in Hindu phobia in Canada. And that makes people resilient and come out and start talking about what is there and right, and be resilient. So I see the sign of Hindu community being resilient and talking about it. And one of that reflection of that is our very successful Swastika Education and Awareness Campaign, which we called as 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗃. We created a booklet 3 years back. That booklet was fortunate to be distributed into the Parliament of Canada 2 years back by Chandra Arya-ji himself. And when he spoke first time, he's the first MP in Canadian Parliament who spoke about importance of swastika. So political circles also, they started to talk about it. So it's reflection of Hindu voices and CoHNA's work. I will give credit to ourselves also. We did a lot of research. Our president, Nikunji, created a lot of material, and with all our research team did a tremendous work. We also worked in a really beautiful documentary together with 𝗥𝗘𝗘𝗏 to inform the community largely about what is it and how it transpires and what was the actual history about it when it was misappropriated in West and how it should be. So educating the community is that. Comes to the second question, what is next? Next is educating the Jewish community about the reality of swastika. And this is where we are working already. I'm just breaking this with you now that there have been countless Jewish organizations which have come up with us after this historic step taken by Bnai Brith. Some of them I can count to you right now: Canadian Women Against Anti-Semitism, Canadian Anti-Semitism Education Foundation, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗘𝗥𝗘𝗡, One Voice Global, and many more are coming and supporting our Swastika Education Awareness Campaign and Understanding Swastika website, which runs under the Swastika Awareness Coalition. So what next we can do? We can educate Jewish community members about the right terminological uses. So some will be a little irritated. Why are we getting there? But this also is symbol. This is also symbol of one of the why it's happening now is also one of the reason is we have never stood together as much as we are standing now. Hindu-Jewish community allyship is very natural, but it is also very opportune. It's very timely because as we know, when we look at the modus operandi, the attack on the communities, the actors who most of the time are attacking us, we find a lot of similarities there. So that's where we see that we need to come together. Our voices become multifold. And that's why I will appeal through the PGurus, everybody who's watching this should sign Bnai Brith's petition to ban all the Nazi symbols. That petition will have all the details and also in a little bit introduction about swastika. And Bnai Brith has done a press release explaining their position. And we will see more Jewish organizations doing that. See, this is where, you were talking about how NDP leader was talking about misappropriately, even though they very much know coming from the dharmic community what it means to be swastika still. But when the right voices will come together, and this is not the problem with the NDP alone. Across political lines, politicians speak up the language which actually gets them more coverage. When they will see the Jewish and Hindu communities are coming together and speaking the right language, and we have spoken in the parliament itself, they will have no choice but to change their position.
Thank you so much, Rishab. And Richard, I have to tell you one thing. We have only started, creating awareness about Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, the rights of Hindus, whether it is America or, whether it is US or in Canada. They started only like 6-7 years ago. Before that, there wasn't much. Everybody decided, they came here, put down their roots. They wanted to do good for themselves. Then they wanted to lay a good foundation for their children and so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to come at is all the organizations that are now working, they all are self-funded and also because of the passion that a few of us carry in our heart. And we wanted to try and say, no, this is not right. This is what it is. Fortunately, your organization is 175 years old. Congratulations. That's 150 years old. Sorry, 150 years old, right? 150 years old.
That's correct.
Congratulations. I have many friends in the Jewish community. Rich, I live in Silicon Valley. Startups are all about, Hindus, Muslims, Jews, and Christians. We all forget about all what we do at home. We talk about the problem, but we understand each one's culture very well. So talk to us a little bit about how you see this thing and tell us how we can help you. And I'll just yield the floor to you. You have the last word, and then we'll just wrap it up.
So the Jewish population in Canada only has 1% of it only represents 1% of the Canadian population. We're a small cohort here in Canada, and we need the support of all Canadians. The strongest Canada is one that's a multicultural Canada where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and everyone is respected, and where we all come together for our belief in Canadian values, in the belief in the Canadian state that many of us who are from diasporic communities like the Jewish community or like the Hindu community have come here to seek a better life in. So we need the support of our Hindu allies, our Jain allies, our Buddhist allies, all the allies who this campaign have brought together to stand firm, and we need to continue to build the bonds. This needs to be the start of an amazing relationship. Jews are facing unprecedented discrimination in Canada. Hindus are facing increased discrimination in Canada. But together we can stand against that, and we can use this as an opportunity to build lasting relationships that will help us to overcome the hate and prejudice that we're facing. I will continue to educate everyone that I can about the proper use of the term swastika, about how it has been maligned wrongly in the West by attribution to the Nazis, and I will do my part to do that. I'm asking that the Hindu community help us in working to have the Nazi Hakenkreuz banned and help us in our fight against anti-Semitism. I'm so thrilled, actually, that there has been a silver lining in the hate that my community has been facing in the evil, repugnant symbol of the Nazi Hakenkreuz. If one good thing that can come out of all the evil and the hate is that it brings the Hindu community and the Jewish community together to stand firm and to work on each other's advocacy issues, then that will be an amazing silver lining.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you so much, Rishab. Thank you so much, Puspita ji. Viewers, this is I think first of maybe a few more follow-up conversations that we are going to have. And thank you all for taking time out. This happened in a few hours. It's very difficult to get everybody, all of us together to have this recording. And thank you once again from the bottom of my heart. Viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Please share this amongst all your family and friends, especially those of you who have roots in Canada and also, of course, North America and beyond. Thank you once again. Namaskar.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for having me.